bit new to this, but my name is Bella, and this channel is called Bella나비. Nabi in Korean means butterfly, so becoming a butterfly. I kind of came up with this YouTube name to represent my growth as a Christian so far, and the sort of struggles I've had, I guess, in the kind of caterpillar stage, and just how I'm transforming as a person, as a daughter of God, to become this beautiful butterfly that spreads her wings confidently and just fly in the direction that God has given to me and the path that God has created for me. So I wanted to make this YouTube channel, mainly for worship, to make worship covers, also to share about and show people that with worship and with like our connection to God, like language really doesn't matter. And for me, I enjoy like learning new languages, and at the moment as I live in Korea, I love to sing Korean worship songs. I think the language is so beautiful, and for me there is no sort of border or limit to I guess to languages and to worship. And so the other thing was to make vlogs as well, or to kind of make content to answer questions about Christian life, Christian living in Korea, or any sort of difficulties that people have that I can kind of empathize with, because I've been in the same position. So I would really love to have any questions or any comments, things that you would like me to talk about. I would definitely love to tackle that. Also, my personality, I think I'm quite introverted. That usually doesn't come across to people, because when they meet me, I smile a lot and I, try to be like, engaged with them. But I definitely like need some time to recharge after I meet with people. And my introversion used to be something that was a challenge for me. It's something that I thought was an obstruction for me to like sort of shine God's light to the people around me, because I didn't want to meet with people. It was just draining. And I always cancelled like appointments, or cancelled like Skype calls with people, or just basically cancelled meeting up with people, because I was like hanging on to being an introvert and it being like a stumbling block for me, rather than something that should sort of get me forward. I'm also quite like bright and quite I laugh a lot actually. When I'm nervous I laugh, when I'm excited I laugh, when I just laugh for everything basically. So you might notice that as well, but that is just part of my personality, something that I do like now, because I do feel like in Korea, before I came here, I used to watch videos of like, Black women who live in Korea, and they would share about their experiences and how people would stare at them, or how people would say like negative things to them. And I remember being worried about this coming here. But I've been so thankful, because for some reason, like God has just blessed me in such a way that when I smile to people, it just sort of opens them up, like to like think, oh, she's nice, oh, she's lovely, and they're always very good to me, and I'm very thankful for that. So yeah so I'm thankful for that personality. But I guess kind of, and I'm quite an honest person. I don't like to like, if I want to say something to someone, I want to say it like honestly and with love and warmth, rather than just like sort of hiding and like finding ways to go around a certain like topic. I just want to say it, especially when there is already an established relationship with that person, like a good friend or someone that I care about, or someone that cares about me. Then I love to have vulnerability in every of my relationships with people. So that's the other thing about me. But yes, I can be quite easily anxious. It's kind of the downside of my personality. I do get quite anxious, and I do get a little bit like worried about what people think about me. That's something I struggle with. That's something I probably would talk about as well more in my videos. When I talk about my struggles as a Christian, and especially living in Korea. The other thing is, yeah, moving on. So I am a family of 5. We are 5. I have 4 brothers and sisters, 4 siblings. That's what it's called. Oh my God, my English. I have 4 brothers and sisters, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and I'm the middle child. And I grew up in Nigeria until I was about 11, and then we moved to the UK with my mother. And I've lived in the UK for pretty much the rest of my life. And about 2 years ago, I moved to Korea. The reason being that I believe that this was the place that God sent me to, and He has always given me that conviction. And when I look back at my journey so far, I think of when I was in high school, and I didn't even have any idea about Korea or like anything about it. And I remember there was an exchange student teacher from Korea. There were 2 of them, but I was close to one of them. And I don't know how that friendship started, but we just became like really good friends, and we would meet up and go to London together. And you know, she taught me like a little bit of Korean, and it didn't really stick with me at the time because I was like, you know, I was learning like other languages, and I wasn't that interested in Korea at the time. Anyway, and then she moved on back to Korea, and that was sort of it. Our contact, we still contacted each other, but it just kind of got like more sort of distant, of course, because of the physical distance, and so we didn't contact each other as much. And I think Korea just sort of slipped out of my mind, maybe, or maybe it was there, maybe that was a seed, I don't know. But when I moved to the university, that was when I had a house. I joined a church in London. It's quite a very small church, very intimate. Like we really emphasize on vulnerable relationships. Maybe that's where that started within me. Like vulnerable relationships, discipleship, looking after each other, meeting up for house church in small groups and things like this. This was something I didn't know before, even though I grew up as a Christian. We just sort of went to like mega churches or churches where, like, you know, typical African churches, if you know what I mean, like comment below, because like, yeah, it's quite different, I think. And my church was mostly Asians, Singaporeans, Malaysians, Filipinos. We had a lot of Asians. There was about 3 black people in that church, and maybe a couple or 3 white people at the time, but mostly Asians. And I just loved how the church was so warm and so encouraging, and I gave my life to Christ again. That was probably where I started as a Christian, I would say, where I consciously chose to accept Jesus. And so when I went to the university, I just, you know, started a house church with a friend of mine. And he's from Singapore. We started a house church together, and we just did that for 4 years. But I remember the second year, this friend of mine, my co-leader, he had some troubles with his studies, and he was facing having to be possibly sent back to Singapore. And I remember just like turning on YouTube, and on the recommended video was this worship music in Korean, and I was just like, okay, because that night I was literally like praying for him, and I was worried for him because I know how much like he really needed to stay in the UK and finish his studies, and I knew how much that burden was on him. And because we're co-leading, I wanted to pray for him. So when I clicked that video, I was just like I don't know what happened. Like it's not like I could understand what each word meant or what what was going on, but I just felt the sincerity and that sort of rawness of the worship. And I know it's not just because it's a Korean thing or because it's an English song or whatever, but I just felt like immediately drawn to that. And I think that was when I sort of started to learn Korean worship songs, and that's when I started to learn about the history and the culture. And that's when I guess like the seed that started in high school just grew more. And at some point, like God put on my heart for Korean young people and for like the celebrities as well, just the things that they're going through. And there's sort of a lot of in the past, Koreans, there was a lot more Christians. There was even like a Christian revival here, and that's how like there was a lot of missionaries coming here and all that. There's just like an amazing history which I can't, like, I would have no time to get into all of it. But I started to learn about all this, and then at some point God put on my heart to come to Korea. And first time I tried, but because of some like sort of I would say disapproval from family, it didn't work out the first time. I tried again 2 years later, and I was able to get my visa and everything sorted, and I came to Korea. So that's how my journey in Korea has started, and that's why I've come to Korea. But yeah, I think that's all about me. If there's anything I've missed out, then video editing will help me. So anyway, really nice to meet you guys, and I hope that we're able to just connect more. And I really hope that this channel will be, it won't just be like something that's like regular and all that. I hope it'll be a platform for vulnerable sharing and for us to be able to worship God together, which is most important to me, and just to be a light, a salt and light to all those around me. Okay, and sometimes I will have a Korean subtitles if I get some assistance from my dear friends. I would have Korean subtitles just because I'd like to connect to my Korean people as well. All right.